Good morning and welcome. Actually, it's afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to DR Sports. This is the weekend preview. We have lots to talk about. I mean, there's no Premier League this weekend, but it's full of internationals and full of debate. Joining me today is Matisse and James. Lovely to see you both.
Thank you.
Hello.
The nerds are over here.
Nerd corner.
Tactical talks.
We need to bring talking tactics back.
We do. Tell them in the other room.
Bring it back, production. Bring it back. Also joining us is Cams and Nicky. How are you
the
guys?
looks over here.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
The brains and the beauty.
brains.
Right?
Exactly that.
The brains and the beauty. We will talk about West Ham later, but are you still Moyes out?
Moyes out. Hey,
Oh,
I refuse to answer. I'll discuss it. Let me have a think. Let me have a
Okay,
think.
We'll have a little think about it. Of course, we are also sponsored by Optimax. We've teamed up with them to get involved with their new player ratings feature and their Optimax and Opta 5 games. So as part of this, we're going head-to-head on DR Sports playing Optimax, where you have to correctly predict the player of the match in 5 of the weekend's Premier League fixtures. This week in Optimax, we're looking at some of the games in the WSL as it is the international break. So that's Chelsea-Liverpool, Brighton-Arsenal, Leicester Spurs, West Ham, Aston Villa and United Man City. And if you correctly predict the player of the match in all 5 games, then a huge cash prize could be yours. This is the part where Alex usually makes it a bit more Vegas style, so I'll try and do it. This week there's $7,000 up for grabs, and if no one wins it, it will be rolled over and increased by $500. And if you accumulate kind of points through the weeks and the top 5 overall in the leaderboard, at the end of the season, we'll share a prize of, I need like an ooh.
Go on. Do the accent as well.
Okay, ready? $12,000. So you don't want to miss this. The new Opta player rating is a score attributed to each player out of the 100, which is calculated by an algorithm indicating how well the player has performed during the game. The ratings range from 20 to 100 with 60 viewed as average. Just scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description to join the DR Sports League and to go up against all of us and other DR Sports subscribers. It's free to play and open to all football fans globally. All you have to do is sign up. Right, so we will be talking about our picks later in the show for what we've done for the WSL. But let's first start with England because we have an international tomorrow night. I feel like we constantly are having international breaks. Unfortunately, just breaking up the season, but we have another one tomorrow night. And we have so much talent in this England team. It's a bit like a golden generation for me. Whether or not it's as good as the old generation, that's something that we can also debate. But there's been lots of injuries as well. Coming in for the likes of Levi Colwill, James Maddison, Callum Wilson, who have all pulled out. It does say Cold Palmer on my script, but so we'll go with that. Cold Palmer, Rico Lewis, they have also been called up as well as Ezri Konsa. He's had an unbelievable start, Cole Palmer, to his Chelsea career. He's been probably the best thing about Chelsea so far. I want to start with you, Matisse, because obviously this is a player that you watch week in, week out. You came up with the name Cold Palmer.
I did.
What is his ceiling? What do you reckon?
I think he can be a world-class player, 100%. I think when you look at the composure of the player, the way that he kind of manipulates the space, he's very intelligent. He kind of has come in and calmed things down. Chelsea were very erratic in the final third. You had Sterling, you had Gallagher, not real composure and, calm heads, but he's come in and just settled that attack down and actually said, listen, this is the way we're going to actually break teams down and we're going to pick our passes and weight them properly. So outside of the penalties, which obviously everyone's saying he hasn't scored an open play yet, that will come. But if you watch him, you can see the difference he's made on the team, the imprint, the kind of stamp. So I think to come from that Man City team where he not even put together, I don't think, 20 Premier League starts, and he was basically a rotational option in cup games. He'd start in the Carabao. He's come straight into a Chelsea team, still a lot of pressure, and delivered immediately. So he's taken the ball off Sterling when he's wanted to take a pen. That last-minute penalty against his former club with Pep in the post, in the presser, ringing in all those quotes and just handled business. And then he comes out and says after, I don't even practice penalties. I just trust my technical ability. So yeah, I've never seen the composure from him that I've seen for a long time for a player coming in. We talk about needing to settle, pre-season, acclimatizing. Nope, just
He's
gone
so
in.
young as well.
Yeah, just gone in straight away
scary.
and handled business.
Yeah. In the
I
Tottenham
rate him.
game. Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
Well, in the Tottenham game, I know it ended with a 4-1 win, but Tottenham were battering Chelsea that first 15. It took a while for them to actually get on the ball. It was Palmer that down the right, I think he maybe gets the ball from Reece James under a bit of pressure, and he kind of drops a shoulder, turns, and just says, let's keep the ball. And I was watching that game going, he's the one that's settling that team down. you can tell he's been educated well. I mean, like Man City players, you can see a little bit of that influence. But what you said about a cool head, and you know, everyone says, okay, hasn't scored an open play. Who cares when you bag your pens against Tottenham, Arsenal, Man City? Yeah. So I think he deserves a lot of credit, and the call up is justified. He deserves it. I can't help but see Sterling missing in it, and that's another discussion. But he deserves it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a bit of an oversight maybe from Man City. I mean, they had a lot of outgoings in the summer. Mahrez, Gundogan, two very big players, and I actually think Cole Palmer would have been a really good fit for them. I know that they have Foden as well, who can barely get consistent game time, but to sell him for, what was it, 40 million or something, which seemed quite a lot at the time.
Was it?
Around that mark. That it's actually proving to probably be a player lost, in my opinion.
They're in a fortunate position, and they you know, I think it's one of them players that I like him. I really like him. He reminds me in his attitude, not in his play, because completely of Carrick. He's just one of them players that seem to get the ball, and he's got time, and he slows everything down. He's got time to sort of compose himself, and you know, for such a young player, it's really rare to see that. But I think he's one of them players that Pep couldn't promise him the game time, and just wants to see him develop. He's like that, Pep. He's you know, he's a good man manager, and maybe somewhere down the line they'll meet up again. You know, I think he's one of them.
Chelsea.
I don't think so. But I think that's the way he manages Pep. He wants to see talent flourish, and I think he sees talent. He just knows that he can't give him the minutes to develop his talents. He knew Chelsea were crying out for someone like that after losing Mount. He's everything Mount. He's a Mount replacement, and he'll be 10 times a Mount.
People have been kind of saying he's the Havertz replacement. And what were you laughing at?
You don't have to end it like that. Why do you have to say that?
I'm just saying. I'm just being honest.
I more see him as the Havertz replacement, because when Havertz came in, everyone was talking about his versatility. He can play off the right. He can play in the 10. He can play as a striker. Arsenal fans are debating what position he actually plays in. You look at Cole Palmer at City. He's played on the left wing against us. He's played on the right wing for us. He's played in the 10. He's played false 9 against Arsenal. Every single position he's excelled, and he's hardworking, and he's creating, and he's scoring. So for me, that's the player that I look at, and I think there was this amount of expectation for a Havertz that when we bought him, Real Madrid were interested maybe to sign him the year after COVID. He comes to us and he doesn't deliver to that level anywhere near. Cole Palmer slots in, and that's kind of the roundabout position he's operating in. I think when it comes to players like Mason Mount, that's more. It's hard work. And listen, hard work can't be discredited. But I think the natural talent of someone like a Cole Palmer, the natural talent of the Phil Fodens, I think that's standing out a little bit more to me.
I think we saw Cole Palmer was going to play this season though, and Pep said that he wanted to keep him. But I don't know. I think with these Man City players, because remember, he scored in the Super Cup final, he scored in the Charity Shield final as well, and every time he was playing in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, he always impressed. You know what I mean? So everyone, even from the youth team days, everyone knows that Cole Palmer is like a really, really good player. And the thing I feel like with these Man City players, because we saw it with Zinchenko, we saw it with Gabriel Jesus, I think they are at Man City and feel that they don't get the credit they deserve because of, you know, like when you think about Man City, you think about Haaland, you think about KDB, and you think about Pep. You think about the manager more time because we think that anything that he puts together will succeed. I feel a lot of these players are there like, we want to get the flowers now. Do you know what I mean? I feel Cole Palmer, his moment came earlier than others. But Jesus, Zinchenko, they walked into Arsenal exactly like how Cole Palmer's walked in. Like, we're the big dogs. We've done it all already. We've won 4 Premier Leagues, all of that. So
it's sort of like they want to prove themselves outside of his name, you know?
Because now, look, when we don't talk about Pep anymore with Zinchenko, you don't talk about Pep with Jesus, you're not going to be talking about Pep anymore with Palmer. And I feel like, not saying more players need to do that because they're all successful, they're all winning, but it's a good mentality to have because at the end of the day, they are taking a step down, but they're taking a step down to go up, if you know what I mean. It's not like they just want to chill at the bottom level. I think Sterling struggled a little bit, but Chelsea were in disarray, you know. And I think this season he's gone back to kind of Liverpool Raheem Sterling, where he's dribbling, he's getting on the ball, and we didn't really see that Sterling too much at Man City. We saw him at the back post scoring goals, but now everyone's actually excited to watch Raheem Sterling again.
He's been back to his best, and going back to the England argument, why is he being picked for England?
Well, 100%. I mean, that was going to be our next question, really. Why and who hasn't been called up, and should they have deserved to be? And Sterling, I mean, I haven't seen Kyle Walker have a game like that in years, where he is literally on toast. Sterling was ridiculous, ran him ragged, and he has been brilliant, Raheem Sterling, I think, this season in particular for Chelsea. So that's one, and none of us can really understand why he's not being picked. And another one would also be James Ward-Prowse, because if you are meant to be picking on form, which again, this is a conversation we have every international break, if you're picking on form, why are these two players not in the team?
He contradicts himself, Southgate. Look, I'm a bit of a, on the love him or hate him side, hate strong, but of Gareth Southgate, listen, I'm more Southgate out than in, let's put it that way. But he contradicts himself. You want, sorry, I feel a bit bad.
No, that's all right, no.
And he has done a lot of good. He has, don't get me wrong, but if you're talking form, then I don't know how Ward-Prowse doesn't get in there. If you're talking actually trusting the players that have done things for you before, then how does Sterling not get in there? Because I know it's different positions, but Maguire's actually playing all right for United at the moment. So it's probably the most forgivable of all the call-ups, in terms of Maguire in the past. But
it's more like Calvin Phillips.
Phillips is not forgivable, though. Phillips is
and there's others. To be fair, when I look at the front line, I don't really see who you leave out. Bowen deserves his place. Grealish deserves his place. Watkins deserves his place. It is hard.
I think Rashford.
Yeah,
I think Rashford obviously he played well for England last time he got called up as well, though. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a different environment. You know what I mean? Like I think Rashford, if he goes to England, he could perform. Man United is a bit of a dumping ground at the moment, but
this is the issue. So are we always basing England call-ups on what they've done previously for England? Because if so, then that's why Calvin Phillips is being called up. Doesn't get any game time, but that's why Harry Maguire gets called up even when he hadn't had game time. So are we meant to be basing it off of who has consistently performed for England since the Euros and since that, or are we doing it based off
the thing is, Sterling performs for England. Sterling was the best player for England.
He was Mr. England.
But I don't know what Gareth Southgate's reason for it is, but only thing I'm trying to think of is that maybe he's trying to transition away and try and start getting Marcus Rashford in there more, because in the World Cup, Rashford, what was it, 3 or 4 goals, and everyone's like, why didn't he play against France? He only got 3 minutes against France, and Sterling went home. Remember, obviously, he had the incident, his family breaking in and stuff, and that might have been a moment that Southgate looked at it and was just like, you know what? There is a future without Raheem Sterling. That could potentially be. I'm not saying it is, but that could potentially have been the moment where he might have seen that, and he's just going to stick with it.
I get that, but there are so many arguments. You want to transition away from the old guard into the new guard. I get that. Raheem Sterling is not the man to be not picking at the moment. He's got so much that he can offer to the not just. On a match day, but just advice. You've got young players like Saka in there and Rashford, and players that.
Rashford ain't young. Let's not.
He isn't. He's still there. He's still there to be advised. He's never quite hit them heights for England. He's up and down with United. But then you make all them arguments and you think, okay, that's fair enough. And then you'll pick Jordan Henderson that's playing Sunday League football in Saudi Arabia for a laugh. So what are you supposed to do? I think some of his attitudes stifles getting the best out of these players, because the very pinnacle of your career, the reward for playing well should be playing for your country. And when you've got people like Calvin Phillips, who's still a young man, that can still go and do a lot in his career, that he's a good player, not a great player, he's a good player, that should be needing to transition out of the Man City team for himself, to get them rewards, to get them flowers of getting to play for England. And I think by picking him, he's just saying, it's fine, mate, you do what you want. You can sit on the bench, play a bit of under-21 football every now and then, make a start every now and then, and you'll still get the... And then you've got someone like Ward-Prowse that's putting in, week out, most assists in the league from the centre of midfield. Yeah. And
he's playing in a 2.
In a 2,
And he's played in a 2 at Southampton with Lavia, who's a teenager. He's played in now in a 2 with Alvarez, sometimes Souček. So there's no excuse not to say he can't play in that 2 with Rice.
He knows him as well. He's played him in the under-21s. He picked him consistently.
Look at what he can do on set pieces. I mean, it's just...
I think sometimes, though, international managers, they're stuck in their ways, because you got to remember, they're only with these players... How often? 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Yeah. So I feel they want that comfortability. They want them people that they know. That's why he's calling up Henderson. And as no matter what people think about Henderson as a player, apparently he's amazing in the dressing room. He's a big help. And so I think Sterling is as well, especially for young players. Yeah. Young people look up to Sterling a lot. So that one is a bit confusing. But with Ward-Prowse, I do think he just wants to kind of stick with the people that he knows. And the thing is, I remember, like, it always happens with other nations as well. There's always players where you're like, why are they not getting called up? I remember France never called up Robert Pires. They never did, no matter what. You know what I mean? And it was always confusing, but they were still performing, and the managers had their ways. And it happens with Italy, it happens with Spain and stuff. So I just think, I don't know. I just think he's probably looking at it and thinking, all right, if I bring Ward-Prowse in, is Ward-Prowse going to start? Probably not.
Longevity.
Yeah, so what am I going to bring it? Well, yeah, I mean, because
give you something different. Like, let's say we're in a major tournament and we're 1-0 down and we're getting fouls and we need something that's a set piece. You want James Ward-Prowse in your team. That gives you another outlet and another option.
I agree. Listen, I'm happy that
the fouls.
I'm happy that you don't go with
Ward-Prowse, cross it into Maguire.
Honestly, I'm easy. Whether he goes with England or not, I'm easy.
I just think that's such a unique threat to bring to the team. It's not a fluke. This guy is putting corners on foreheads week in, week out. Free kicks, you can sub him on, like he's hitting them in. So best free kick since Beckham. So it's like, to not have that. The one for me I can't get is Phillips. He doesn't play. He doesn't offer anything particularly unique. I'm sorry. Even when he was at Leeds, he's a good player, but I didn't think he was like Man City level.
There's other players that could do that.
He's going there to deputise for Rodri. He's basically Tyler Adams.
He doesn't even deputise for Rodri, because when he was out for 3 games,
he doesn't even play.
He couldn't start.
They don't trust him from England not having anyone in that position.
100%.
That's what his like. You know what I mean? Sterling is not so lucky because there's a lot of players in his position, but. With Phillips,
I'll
take
be
away
honest,
Declan Rice.
I'd rather put Alexander-Arnold in there than
I would too. I would too.
It's not a bad shout. Looking kind of up front, and obviously we know, Harry Kane is still, Mr. England. He's going to be there for a long time, but we need to figure out who's an understudy for him. And I guess the options are kind of Ollie Watkins, Callum Wilson, and Marcus Rashford. We're running a poll at the moment, actually, and between Sterling and Rashford. At the moment, Sterling is winning by 85% of who you would rather have. But who would you guys have as an understudy? Would you lean more towards a Watkins or a Wilson? Obviously, this is based on when everyone is fit, by the way. So
you see, this poll right here is reactionary, because they wouldn't have said this last season. You wouldn't have. Last season, it would have been 90% Rashford and no one for Raheem Sterling. So people just go with the wind. Do you know what I mean? You guys just go with the wind. But that's what I'm gonna say.
And Ivan Toney is another shout. Obviously, we know he can't play at the minute, but we do have talent up front in that role. Who would you pick?
I'll go Ollie Watkins. I think Rashford will be a left wing option. Yeah. So I'll go Ollie Watkins. I think Ollie Watkins, in terms of like a complete forward, he can do it all. He can run the channels. He can occupy a back four, play back to goal, run beyond, score goals. I think he can do everything, and he's the one. I think that when he has been given an opportunity to play for England, has impressed. And that's why I feel sorry for, like, even though it's a different position, like Jarrod Bowen. I just think, like, when he gets the chance for England, he just isn't able to grasp his moment. And I just think when Watkins plays, he might get a goal, and it's just his work rate as well. He can just offer something completely different. I don't expect Kane to be off the pitch often, but if Kane is off the pitch, he's such a completely different
option to bring in.
To what Harry Kane is. So it'll be confusing for a centre half and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I would go Ollie Watkins as the backup. Callum Wilson's always going to score goals for Newcastle, and Tony's obviously out. But I got to go Watkins.
I like Tony. I do like Tony. I think Tony, if he didn't have that whole ban, I think he could have been a shoo-in for this position, because he's due to move to a big club as well. And I think that does make a difference when you're going for an England place. We've seen it so many times. Players that play for big clubs get favouritism. So I think he's missed out on an opportunity there to really cement himself as the deputy, because you look at Ivan Toney, he's a complete player. He can do what Harry Kane does in terms of dropping deep, not to the same level, but he's adequate in that. And then he's a fantastic finisher as well, and he's good in the air. So I don't know. I think with Watkins, ahead of Wilson as well, but I think Tony, I still hope
even
for Tony.
With the ban, and he's come back and play 6 months and then get into the team.
I don't know what to expect from Tony when he comes back, because it could go either of two ways. It could go, he needs a pre-season, he's not fit, and he's not at the same level he showed before, or he could just come back and just. But
you would think that he would have been
training, I mean, while he's been out.
I don't think he's just will have been sitting there kind of twiddling his
thumbs.
Well,
I think originally he wasn't allowed to. I mean, he'll be training himself. I don't think he originally was allowed to train with Brentford, but I think that's
surely they have provided.
I think from September he's allowed to train.
Which, by the way, was
someone that is training with him at home.
He ain't been sitting in Ladbrokes all day.
Yeah.
Who would you pick, Nick?
Watkins.
Watkins.
I
as
like
well.
Watkins.
I
I
would
think
as well.
I think Watkins could go to a big club as well. I think he could be
Are you saying Aston Villa's not a big club?
No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm talking about someone that's playing. He occupies.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He occupies. Works so hard. Gives defenders different, concentration levels. They have to be high in the Premier League, and he's just everywhere. He's very hard to keep. I really like Ollie Watkins. We had a chance to sign Ollie Watkins, and we turned it down. And that's the
Is that when
worst.
you went for
That's
Danny
mad.
Ings instead?
Danny Ings, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Danny Ings' time. It was before when he was at Brentford.
I was going to say that would have been a big miss.
Yeah,
Very
we
big miss.
chose Danny Ings instead of Ollie Watkins.
At the minute, in our poll, it is kind of tied between Watkins and Tony. It keeps going back and forth, 44, 45% just.
Definitely not going to be Tony.
Rashford and Wilson.
it won't be,
Rashford
but
is third choice.
Look, these guys
60%.
are hating on Rashford. Rashford's going to the Euros, guys.
He'll definitely be
Get
there.
used to it.
Oh, he'll
Get
be
familiar with it.
A lot of the chat is also kind of agreeing.
Do you still rate
a lot of
Rashford
Tony.
over Martinelli?
Who?
You.
What? Wow, that's a.
I don't. Rashford's off form at the moment, but is Martinelli having a great season? He's been all right.
But as players, still.
Yeah,
Rashford
I still think they're around the same level. I'll still take Rashford.
Did you see that Cole Palmer is a massive United fan?
Is he?
Yeah.
See, he knows, man.
Would you rather have him or Mason Mount?
I'd rather have Palmer. I'd rather have Palmer. Yeah,
Big
he's more quality.
boyhood. Big
That was a
boyhood.
nasty
Yeah,
question.
Yeah, no, that's why is everyone? What's going on here? What's going on here?
nasty
be honest.
question.
What's going on here?
Look, cards on the table, mate. I've never rated Mount. Never
Really?
rated him. Never.
Well, I think there's a player there.
There is a player there, but I feel like
He'll
Chelsea
probably
may have
beat you.
damaged him by
Probably
trying
beat
to
you
force
one
him
day
into
next
a
Chelsea.
Bruno Fernandes front three in a back three formation. When he was honestly, I know what Ten Hag's has been thinking that he's capable of, which is where he was at Vitesse and Derby playing as like a proper midfielder, and he's probably thinking at Man United that he can turn him back into that. But there's a big gap between him playing as an 8 and him playing as a forward at Chelsea and then trying to go back to an 8.
Yeah.
That development,
It's all messy
it's
right
bit
now.
messy.
So he's come into a bad situation as well. But I honestly don't think he's playing as bad as people are putting out there. I feel like I don't know why Ten Hag's now just sat him and not giving him many games and not much minutes. But when he plays, he's been decent. And the thing about Mount, he needs to kind of revert himself away from this narrative that he's just this hard-working guy. Because I thought Mount had a bit. He used to show some quality at Chelsea, but
you
now,
don't come through Cobham without him having some tech.
now he's getting like kind of put into this box where he just legs and hard work, and I'm like, we might as well have kept Fred then. You know what I mean? If that's the case, why do we? I don't get it. I don't get it. I thought we brought him some attacking quality. He scored 10 goals in the league one point for Chelsea and stuff. Like, I don't know.
It's
Man.
true, though,
terms-
It's a tough
that
one for him.
season when Frank Lampard started and basically had the ban, so you had to sort of promote a lot of these youngsters.
When he came from Derby and he had him at
He
Derby.
showed quality. Like he actually showed quality on the ball. I agree. He needs to shake off this whole like, I'll just be the
Just a
workhorse
presser,
in midfield. Like,
In terms of
no.
transfers, though, he's the epitome of the saying out of the frying pan into the fire because he couldn't have chose two
If he had
worse
gone to
clubs.
Liverpool, I would have had a lot more confidence in his
Yeah.
career trajectory. I think I always thought him going to Klopp would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But going to Man United,
We're going to talk about
different story.
United. Don't worry, we're going to talk about them in depth. We've got a few super chats. Marlon said, "I'm all for international breaks at the moment. I also think Premier League clubs shouldn't have to play during AFCON and the Asia Cup. It's only fair." Coys, I agree because obviously from a Spurs perspective, we're going to have no midfield. So I totally agree with that. Charlton fan 18 said, "We weren't embarrassed to get in. VAR is great and should be involved. No way that was a pen. And we got away with a yellow yesterday." I assume he's potentially talking about maybe the Chelsea
Real Madrid
game.
Oh yeah, I watched.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was bad.
That was
Crazy. That was
Absolutely
crazy.
mad. For anyone who doesn't know, there was a penalty given to Madrid. I mean, the foul was well outside the box. It was never a penalty, and there was also an offside, wasn't there? Which was so offside. Which
And there's no
wasn't
VAR,
given.
by the way.
No VAR, and just horrendous refereeing. While we're talking about women's football, we're going to have a look at our Women's Super League Opta picks. We're going to bring up the graphic for you to see who we all picked this week. The fixtures is Chelsea, Liverpool, Brighton, Arsenal, Leicester City, Spurs, West Ham, Villa, United v City. My picks for this week are, I'm going to show you. So I went for Sam Kerr for Chelsea as my player pick, Alessia Russo, Celine Bizet, Maz Pacheco and Nikita Paris. And you can see everyone on the board and everything that we've all picked for our teams this week. Make sure you get involved and scan the barcode on the screen to win some money potentially. Why not? It's free to enter.
Why not?
You lose nothing. Let's talk about Chelsea and a potential Shock for top 4. I haven't written this script.
Shock.
Clearly. Yeah, I mean, it's these are the teams that are in contention for top 4. We are very far away from, the end of the season, so this is all speculative. But teams in contention are Villa, Newcastle, United, Spurs and Brighton. Chelsea are just about in the top 10 at the minute.
You can tell she supports Tottenham.
But can they? Can they get top 4, Cams?
Chelsea?
Yeah.
What's the point? What's their points right now? I need to
Top
see the
5,
table.
man.
I need to see
Coefficient.
the-
Actually,
I
wait.
need to
If
see
you
the
don't
table.
deliver in the Champions League,
Please don't deliver.
then we might have a problem.
Listen,
We need you
don't
to
rely on us.
get out of the group.
We're
So
going out
Cam-
against
Flexible.
Galatasaray, trust me.
Tottenham on 26 and 4th. Villa on 25 and 5th. Chelsea on 16. So they're still 10 points.
They're
off
10 points.
Spurs.
Nah, Chelsea. Nah, I don't back them to make top 4. There's too many teams.
There you go.
that-
Just checking they were in double digits. Yeah.
No,
There's too many teams that have to fall off for Chelsea to capitalize on. Do you know what I mean? I know it may look like 10 points, but then you're still back. How many teams? That's like 4 or 5 teams ahead of you that have to fall off and not capitalize on Spurs as well, potentially dropping off. I don't think Chelsea will be the ones to do it. I think one thing I don't like, I mean, Chelsea are doing well in these big games and stuff, but I mean, how come they're being spoken about like these cute little underdogs? You guys spent £1 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You spent £1 billion. This and we're talking about, can they make the top 4? It should be a given, really and truly. Like, I know talking about winning the league is a bit far.
But they should be.
Yeah, I
with
mean,
the
that's a
money
bit
spent.
far, maybe. You know what I mean?
What, with
City
the money
and-
spent? You don't expect to spend
Yeah.
£1 billion and be spoken about in the same breath as winning the league.
I hear it, but City, I mean, these are big teams. Yeah, I mean, it's big dogs.
They
But
spent £1 billion. £1 billion. You don't spend £1 billion to sit 10th in the table.
Can I use this analogy? It depends what you spend the money on, right?
Yeah.
So you have to look at that as a context. If Chelsea spent 500 million and it was all on like A-listers, I'd have higher expectations than if you spend double on unproven potential. If you go into a shop, right, and you go to Harrods or you go to Primark and you spend the same money, you're getting different items,
you
right?
spent on quality though. You did spend quality.
There is
You
some
did buy
quality. There is some quality.
It's not quality like you shopped in
How much did
Primark.
they
You
Hold
didn't
on,
shop
but
in Primark.
there is some quality.
You guys are shopping in good.
There are some nice things in
stores.
Primark.
You know what I mean?
Are there not? Are there not
Yeah,
some nice things in Primark?
Not to the level that your players are. Not to the level that your players. You guys
haven't
got
gone
better.
and spent £1 billion in Primark.
Listen,
Let's be real.
You're in
just-
Zara.
I'm
You're in
just-
Zara. You shopped in Zara.
Okay, I'm
You
in
shopped
Zara.
$1 billion
I'm
in Zara.
or
I'm eating good.
I'm Zara or I'm in Gucci, right? So there's still levels to this game. There's some nice pieces in Zara. You can get away with it.
You can often look better in Zara fits.
You could.
than
Gucci
Gucci.
and maybe
Let me
long
tell you
term,
that.
we will. We still have to get a trim. We still have to do this. We still have to do that. It's not over. Do you know what I mean? We've got the gear now. We still have to actually refine it, improve it, develop it. And you'll know Pochettino can can do that as he did at Tottenham. So
But-
there's
He
context.
didn't have £1 billion.
The voice of reason's coming in. Go on,
thing
James,
is-
back me
the
here.
thing is, I'm going a different way. so-
James.
No, I actually think, in theory, you're right. Just because you spend a load of money doesn't mean it all is going to work immediately. You've got to give it time. But we're not talking about any ordinary amount of money here. We're talking
Billion.
$1 billion. Like,
A billion doesn't go as far as it used to, you know.
I hear that, but it's not.
This guy.
Inflation, cost of
It's
living.
not.
guy.
I
Look at Man
understand, I
United's
hear
team.
that.
They spent $1 billion too.
Yeah, over like a 10-year period, not
spend
over one season, mate.
We're both broke. You still spent the money, bro.
I think if you'd spent 500, 600 million in Bowley's time, I'd be a little bit more like, I get it. 'cause
No,
you're
you
confident.
wouldn't.
But this is like
No.
this is another like universe of money. So I agree. I don't think you'll get top 4 because there just are better teams. I think Chelsea. What Chelsea did against Arsenal, Spurs, and City, it was surprising in that they were languishing around 10th, and so it was kind of like, oh wow, did well against Arsenal, did well against City. But actually, if you watch their games, the underlying numbers, whatever, they were playing decent football. There was something there to build on. It wasn't that surprising they performed well in these games. Look at Liverpool opening day of the season. Like, you've got these games in you. But I still think Newcastle, United are 6th. As bad a season as start as you've had, they're 6th.
Is it sustainable though? Like, where do you guys
not,
expect
but-
Man United to finish ahead of Chelsea this season?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Do you?
No.
You reckon they'll finish proper?
I think based on the way that we're playing, based on the way that you're playing, I'd be very disappointed in us if we finish behind United, unless something drastically changes.
How
at
are
Man
you
United.
playing though?
We're playing well.
Are you?
I really
Yeah.
don't think you can take the Spurs game. I think you need
No,
to put it in
I'm not taking
context,
just the Spurs
game.
No, I'm not.
City,
I'm not
fully,
taking the Spurs
fully
game.
give it to you. It was a great
I
performance.
think we're
but
playing
the
very well
Spurs
in
game,
general.
We need to contextualise
And
the Spurs game.
the stats do back that. Like, we're not playing poorly. Are we perfect? No, but we do need to take our chances 100%. But there's still players coming back. I expect our team to finish the season strongly. You look at Nkuku coming back, Badiashile coming back, very, very good player. Lavia coming to this team. We haven't even seen him play once. I think there's enough quality there for Chelsea to finish. Maybe not top 4, but I think top 5. And I think fifth.
I'm not
will
hearing
get
Primark players here at all.
No, but when we
Primark.
speak on this billion, we have to understand that some of this has been allocated to top players like Nkuku. Enzo's got to deliver Caicedo, and some of it's been put on Angelos and Washingtons and all of these youngsters.
What about the 88 you spent on Mudryk?
That was a big overspend. But it was 62. Just to, if you want to know what went out of the bank account and went into Shakhtar's, it was 62 initial. 88 add-ons, depending on Champions League, Premier League, whatnot. So you know.
Turkish is calling you out, by the way, in the chat.
Of course he is.
He said,
Of course he
Matisse,
is.
breaking down the spending, just give it a rest. When you were talking about Arsenal spending, you didn't care about the breakdowns.
When did I mention Arsenal spending?
Historics.
When did I mention Arsenal?
You do the show called the Big Six.
The archives.
I don't know if I've mentioned Arsenal spending. I've more mentioned Arsenal trying to claim London as red when you haven't actually cemented yourself in terms of major trophies in the last 2 decades. That's what I'm talking about.
I think Chelsea have got quality. Chelsea have got quality. You know what I mean? The team. I don't think you're going to be in major trouble, and I think Chelsea will be back soon. You know what I mean? I definitely think they will. But I just think this season they're still going to go through a lot of hiccups. I think they're excited because of the big games and it's going well at the moment in them games. But I think, you know what I mean, one loss again, you're just knocked back down to where you've been before. You know,
Can you catch Tottenham?
Chelsea, you guys got to go on a run of form. That's the thing, Matisse.
Yeah.
You guys have got to go on 5, 6, 7 games run of form.
100% we do.
Well,
I don't think you guys have that in you at the moment.
I'll go the other way, right? I think they could make top 4. Because I've seen enough in the last few weeks to show me that they have got all the tools. It's just whether they can get them together.
That race never gets away.
And
people
I
drop
have
points.
also seen some faltering in the top 4. There's been some mad results, like Liverpool drawing to Luton. There's enough there to show me that there is points to be dropped by Tottenham,
it's
by
super
Liverpool.
Early. It's
super early
in the season. And obviously a lot of teams, United, have been hit badly by injuries. Spurs have been hit badly by injuries, suspensions. You know, Arsenal to a point as well have also been struggling with some injuries. You know, Gabriel Jesus. So I think that does open the door, but then you have to have a look at the kind of the back end of the season. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
of course.
from a Spurs perspective, our players, Mickey van der Ven, James Maddison, will be back probably February time. Really pivotal point of the season. What happens between now and then is a different story.
But this is the thing. I think when you look at the importance of in teams like Tottenham on the players like that, I think Chelsea have got potentially the tools to deal with that.
I agree.
Going forward.
I agree. Chelsea, this group of players can get into the Champions League in any other season. But I'm looking at the table right now. Arsenal 3rd, Tottenham 4th, Villa 5th, United 6th.
Do you think Villa's going to
Newcastle
sustain?
7th.
Do you think they'll sustain?
I do think Villa will fall off a little bit, but they're
if you look
looking
at
a
the
lot better
calendar,
than Chelsea.
you've got to look at the calendar year. The same way Newcastle, people were surprised at Newcastle, but in the calendar year before that, Newcastle showed that they can sustain form. And I think the same with Villa. Villa are showing under Emery, they can sustain a long
Do you know what? The only thing I would say, just looking at kind of in that fixture list, Villa, not fixtures, the contention list, Villa, Newcastle, Brighton, all of these teams have some form of European football.
Yeah,
I would probably expect maybe Newcastle to drop into the Europa League. I do think they might end up dropping into that. I don't necessarily think they'll get out of the group. But Brighton, we've seen, have maybe struggled a little bit with European football, playing on during the week and then playing on the weekend. Villa, again, brilliant at home, but also loads of injuries with Newcastle. With Villa, again, have they got the squad depth to take you through when it's getting really tough those last few months, March, April time?
December.
Do they have that? Newcastle,
December.
Again, when they came and played you in the Cup, they've got 5 fullbacks on the pitch because they just don't have it. They've got so many injuries. Brighton,
they got
they did do all right. They did, but as in, are they going to have enough if they're still in Europe in those competitions? Their squad is massively stretched, and you have fatigue, and you have injuries. Can they get it over the line? I think we're seeing already with Newcastle that maybe it came a little bit too early for them in terms of their project, maybe getting in the Champions League last year. And again, in terms of with Tottenham in that list, again, the squad depth is just maybe not there.
Yeah.
It's another transitional season.
Any team that gets hit with injuries is going to suffer, especially to the level that United and Chelsea have had, and maybe there's a couple of other teams this season. we've already seen it with Tottenham. Like, you get hit with a couple of injury suspensions, it's a completely different team. That goes for Villa. That goes for Newcastle.
Got beat to Bournemouth the weekend. Yeah. Clear and Trippier standing there going, look how many injuries we've got.
Yeah. And it changes everything. It does open the door. I think the thing for you is how your squad integrates, because you've got a lot of players that have never played together.
That's why potentially you could say it's a slow start. I still do think we are underperforming, because we shouldn't be where we are. You know, we should be picking up points home to Nottingham Forest, at home to Brentford. But I think what's key is the next couple of fixtures are Brighton, Newcastle, and then United. You need to be winning 2 out of 3, picking up a point.
Well, your fixtures up until the 30th of December: Newcastle away, tough game; Brighton home, United away, Everton away, Sheffield, Wolves, Palace, Luton. Traditionally, you always say you struggle against teams with the low block.
Yeah, the low block thing has to be fixed. That run after United, you've got to go on a run. But I think even Newcastle, with their injury issues, Brighton, we played them in the cup, we've beaten them. We played them in pre-season, played pretty well. You've got to beat both those teams if you want to catch. It's
Everton away, Sean Dyche.
Listen, 100%. But you've got to go. You've got to win those games. Every Premier League game is a tough game.
To look tough.
Even Luton for Liverpool, they struggled. You know what I mean? So every game's tough. Sheffield United have played Tottenham, they played City. It's only been narrow wins. Every game's tough, but you got to win. You got to start winning.
If we beat you at Old Trafford, would you still be confident for top 4?
If you beat us at Old Trafford, I would be worried, because we shouldn't be losing to you. I can't lie. I've watched you a lot this season. And
I reckon we're going to be losing.
If Galatasaray and Palace and Forest can go there and give a game, and Brentford can almost win, apart from McTominay late winners, we should be able to go there and get minimum a point. I want 7 points out of the next 9. And then I'll be more confident for.
Good luck with that.
I've heard all this before, Matisse.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know.
It's now 7 points. It was 7 wins and 7.
Yeah, but I'm next 3 games. Next 3 games.
I'm glad you're.
I think it's pivotal. It's pivotal.
Yeah, because this is the fixtures that everybody said was going to get absolutely blitzed, innit?
I actually said I don't think it's going to be that as bad as people make out. You know, with them fixtures. Like,
I mean, it hurts when you lose your head.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like every single time, even if you saw Luton have a run of Man City, Man United, and all these teams, it never ends up being L. It's always, you always get results here and there. You know what I mean? So I wasn't surprised to see Chelsea pick up some points, but yeah, it's got to end at Old Trafford. Let me just say.
Why are you so confident?
I'm just confident, man. 8:15 kickoff Wednesday.
We're good under the lights.
Wednesday, I'm confident we'll beat you.
We're better at night
time.
time.
Played at night, got done by Newcastle.
No, that was Carabao Cup. You know what I mean? We'll give out that trophy. We'll give that trophy back. We'll give that trophy back. You guys can have it now. You know what I mean? We'll give that back. But I think at Old Trafford, I think we'll win. Listen, I know, don't get twisted. Old Trafford's not great this season, but I just think Chelsea, you're not made of that stuff, you know? You know what I mean? If it was Man City,
did you not see that stuff against Man City?
If it was Liverpool,
we went behind 3 times and came back against Man City, the best team in the world. You didn't see that stuff. You
guys were at home, man.
You guys were at home. Was awful.
You guys were at home.
We won 1 game at home in the last 14. But
you lot are celebrating that like it was a win. It wasn't a win at the end of the day. You guys should be concerned that you guys can score 4 goals against Man City and still not win.
Man City could score 4 goals and still not win.
Man City should be walking away from that. Man City should be walking away from that like, wow, we're juggernauts. You know what I mean? Because we got 4 today and we still didn't lose.
They also conceded 4.
Yeah, but you got to remember, they're the champions. You get me? You guys, everyone's trying to hunt them down. And a team has scored 4 against them and they still can't lose. Oh, that's worrying. For me, I think Man City should be okay. But you guys are celebrating it like it's like you won the Champions League. You know what I mean? You didn't win the Champions League. Just calm down.
Really?
You know how it feels to win the Champions League. So why are you celebrating it?
Why are you overdoing it? Why are you overcooking it? Why are you overbaking the cake?
You guys were coming around
You're using too many eggs.
Why you guys were coming around talking about, he told you so, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, calm down a little bit. I saw you on Best of Enemies.
No, because do you know why? Do you know why?
I saw you on Best of Enemies.
Because going in, do you know what's so? Do you know why? Because people can't have it both ways. There's all this expectation on Chelsea. Oh, we knew Chelsea weren't going to get battered, but I'm seeing score predictions 2-0, Man City 3-0 from Turkish. So then when we get these results, it's all like, oh, but we expected that. You spent $1 billion. Okay, if that was the case, then in the predictions, then show some respect in your predictions. Because if you're going to predict 2-0, 3-0 batterings, and then we actually play well,
but you believe in your team,
I want that credit.
You believe in your team. So you should be like, I tell you, calm down, guys. No, you were flexing too much. You were flexing too much. You were flexing too much. I saw you. You were flexing way too much. It was a draw at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It was a draw.
Should have won. That Haaland penalty.
But we'll see in December the 6th, Wednesday, 8:15 kickoff.
We will be there.
Was that a penalty? Do you think that was a penalty?
Which one?
The first one, Haaland.
No. But the thing is,
we're getting robbed in the men's and the women's now.
It's crazy, but look what they did with the Rodri one. With Hoyland.
I think we should run an investigation.
Exactly.
I can't lie.
This is what I'm saying.
There's a type of foul only City are getting right now.
This is getting ridiculous.
Clearly, Man City have paid people.
Final part on this. Nicky, yes or no? Do they get top 4?
No.
Cams?
No.
Top
James.
4 hype, man. Top 4 hype. You need
no,
fifth.
I'm not trying to open a whole can of worms, but isn't there some reports of a potential points deduction? Or
Oh,
That'll-
yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
But
I'm sure
listen,
they'll
it's
get
a
away
no.
with it.
It's a no from me. I'm gonna go Simon.
I don't know
It's a
about
no
this
from
points
me.
deduction stuff. I ain't heard anything.
No, fair
But if that
Turn
is,
your ear off, yeah.
yeah, I've read some reports, but you know, you have to be careful of what sources.
There's a few clubs that
Do you know what I will say about that
trouble.
points deduction on a serious note? If we get a points deduction for that, they need to investigate every single club, because those kind of shady dealings between agents and owners happen all across the board in football. This is almost something that it's like politics. You've
But I
almost
think
come
you've
to
taken a piss
accept.
a little bit.
I don't know if they've. I don't know, but
Come on, man.
do you think? Do you think so? Do you think it's
Roman
any more than what
Abramovich,
happens elsewhere?
Yes.
Because it's got the Roman
Yes.
tag to it. Everyone's no, I don't think
Yes.
so.
What, the FFP stuff that's going on?
No, people
Yeah.
are saying about us paying agents and using that to. But do you think that doesn't happen in all ownership
think it
groups?
think it does, maybe.
I think
Of
the
course it
FFP
does.
thing has opened up a can of worms. They've never punished anyone significantly.
Come
and
on
they
now.
should have done that early doors.
I'm not saying it's
opened up-
right. I'm just saying, much like politics, we've come to
I
accept
think you
in,
could be
in these
right.
bigger corporations and businesses, there are little,
I think football is a dirty industry.
Dirty
There's stuff
sport.
that goes
Very,
behind the
so
scenes.
dirty.
100%.
But what they need to do is establish what is a line that has made. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just asking the question: what is the line that has made it actually not a level playing field? We
Yeah.
know that things go on behind the scenes or whatever. Even what happened to tapping up? There was a point where you couldn't talk to. Next thing we're
That
hearing,
happens all the time.
You won't mind hearing this. That Mikel Arteta convinced Rice ages ago. When did that happen?
Yeah.
And that's kind of let go now. No one really cares about it. So we know things go on, but where is that line? And they need to, at some point, they need to make an example of it. I don't know if it's Chelsea. I don't know when it is.
Hopefully.
We don't know what's going on with these charges with Man City. There's so much that's still up
Yeah.
in the air. Everton, I know what's going on with FFP. Barcelona are getting investigated. It's
And
all
there-
gone. It's all gone mad.
If there is a
Yeah.
deduction,
But-
though, it won't be probably till next year, because like that will take some time.
I don't even. Again, I said I wasn't going to open a can of worms.
You've
But I
opened
don't
a can
even
of
know
worms.
if punishing this current group or this current. This is something that happened.
Especially
a while.
when they-
I
I was
don't know
gonna
if that
say,
is the
yeah.
way to do it.
Exactly.
I think it's more. And again, it's all about if they have, and it's allegations and whatever. If they are found guilty, I think you got to look more at things like stripping of titles or whatever. If they are.
I think it's fair.
Hey,
It's
calma.
fair.
If
Calma
you're
with that.
hold on.
No.
If you're talking,
fair.
and I said if, I'm not saying you have, but
What,
if
because William didn't go to Tottenham? You think he's that good? We would have won the title anyway.
I'm saying if clubs, forget Chelsea, you've got the Man City stuff, whatever's going on, whoever's breaking rules, whatever they're doing, I'm not saying they definitely
My
have.
director of
I'm not-
football's in
then
jail.
I think they've got to look more
That's
at
his
whether
business.
it was a fair play.
Yeah, were you penalised? Were you
if-
penalised? No,
It
he was
wasn't
sent
at
to jail.
us. It was
If
at-
we
well,
are found
it was at
guilty,
Juventus.
take one of
It was
Roman's
while
yachts.
he wasn't at our club.
Simple as that.
That's
Take
the
one
thing.
of
They said
Roman's
they're going to
yachts.
investigate. They're going to ask Chelsea questions.
Listen,
I don't
CC
know.
yacht.
I'm going to be honest with you, Matisse. Right? Let's be straight. Before Roman Abramovich come along, you were another one of us.
You were.
You were winning FA Cups like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. You were.
To be fair, you were nothing before Roman.
You were a very similar trophy
were.
count to us. He's brought you more success than anyone could have ever dreamed of at Chelsea through dirty money. Through dirty
Disgusting.
money.
Absolutely
Is any money really
disgraceful.
clean?
No.
Is any money really clean?
There's-
Even
there's
that Dragons,
some
even
money
that
that's
Dragons
dirtier
Den
than
money's not
others, and
clean.
that is-
You know what I'm saying? Even that Dragons Den not. Listen,
Can't be
there's
just
no
be
clean
taking
money
these
out here.
yachts, mate. You've seen the fruits of the dirt. You know what I mean? You've seen.
Listen, we're not-
You've picked off that dirty fruit and started chewing it. You
Listen.
can't now punish him. There he's gone.
And I've got bacteria on my belly. Do you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna play this game of like dirty money, because none of this money's clean.
None of it's
None of
clean.
this
You're
money.
all
None of this
right,
money's
you're all
clean.
right. But
Alright,
yours is
well, yeah.
dirty.
You got a lot of problems at your club. Don't let me get onto
Yeah,
your
the problem
club.
is they don't spend.
Man, am I getting arrested for fun
don't
over there?
spend
Don't try to
money.
play with me.
We've literally got dirty money.
Yeah,
because you know where
100%.
our money comes from.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, we'll move on.
Sir Jim's money's clean, man.
Yeah.
Sir Jim's money's clean. Trust me.
Let's move on. Please make sure you smash that like button as well. We can get that. We can get that much more than it already is. Clara Bitsy in the super chat said, "All this talk about Chelsea spending. United have signed more players this summer than their attackers have goals." We're going to move on to United actually. Ten Hag. What can he do in Jan to kind of fix the issues that you've had this year? Is he still the man for you?
It's up and down, you know. Like, as I said, I've always said that I wanted to see a style of play, and some of the decisions that have been made in game and off the pitch have been a bit questionable, you know. But he will be given time, and we're about to go out of Champions League, in my opinion, which is massively concerning. So he has to get Champions League football via the league this season, or then I do think his job will come under fire, especially with new owners, or minority owners coming in who are making decisions. If he doesn't make Champions League this season, I think he's in massive trouble, because new owners always want to bring in their own guy, you know? So, but he'll be given time, definitely, because it'll be very, drastic to make a change right now, and a bit dramatic. So I think he'll carry on. January, I don't think much business is going to be done because of this whole takeover situation. It still takes 8 weeks to ratify the deal and stuff like that. So I don't see anything major happening in January. We're just going to have to make do with what we got, and hopefully some players come back from injury. And look, United have had in my opinion, terrible start. Yes, we're getting some results, and in the league, we've only won one game less than Arsenal and Liverpool and Spurs. I mean, we've won 7. You guys have won 8 games. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it.
You've not drawn one game.
We haven't drawn one game, which is weird anyway. It kind of shows. It's a weird mentality. It's weird. I can't put my finger on that one, but I just think we have to hope our current players get into form. If our current we are sitting in, what is it, 6th or 7th?
Sixth.
We're sitting in 6th with 13 goals scored, with 1 goal from attacking player. Like, you gotta hope these guys get back into it. Ten Hag finds a way of getting these guys to score goals, and then then maybe the future's a lot more bright. But I think dipping in the market in January, what's the point? What are you gonna do in January? Bring another attacker in and what? You guys, why ain't these guys working? You know what I mean? Like, why aren't these guys working? You can't just bring in another attacker and think that he's gonna now he's gonna do? Score 20 league goals or something? It's not gonna happen. So
I think Højlund and Rashford are definitely capable of upping their goal tallies. I mean, Højlund hasn't scored yet, but we can see he's a threat. Rashford, we know he's got the track record of getting goals. He's at least can go on a purple patch somewhere. I think Anthony, massive concerns.
He's not good enough.
What is he contributing to this team? When is he going to step up for the money spent on him? We talk about Mudryk, but Anthony, I mean, this guy...
Big money.
I can't find one thing that he's good at. Sancho, when is he going to apologise? Do you know what I mean? Like, is he going to apologise? Is he going to be back in this team?
No, well,
that's 200 million almost.
He's been linked with a move to Saudi, along with Richarlison, funnily enough, in January. If that offer came in from Saudi, would you take that?
It depends how much it is, innit? It depends how much it is. Honestly, the Sancho situation is a bit crazy. I think it would be best for him to go on loan right now. Go on loan. Find the love for football again.
He's
play
23.
your football. Do you know what I mean?
I don't want to see him in Saudi.
He'll go on loan. Ten Hag will lose his job, and he'll
come back. Fresh start.
As much as it hasn't been good for Sancho, it'll be so disappointing, just optics wise, to see Sancho end up just getting sold or get kicked out of the club and it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? It'll be massively disappointing. I don't think his ceiling at Man United is very high, but I still think maybe just go on loan and reassess the situation later. And look, the thing with Manchester United, and I don't back Man United to win many big games. I'm not counting Chelsea at home a big game, with all due respect. You know what I mean? With all due respect. No, but I'm talking about
big clubs.
I don't expect us to beat Arsenal. I don't expect us to beat Liverpool, Spurs at the moment. But listen, you play more lesser games than you do big games.
Yeah.
You know? So I do think we're still going to lose more games this season. We're going to lose against these big teams, but we just have to back ourselves to beat these smaller teams. And that's what we're doing. You know, that's why we've got 7 wins and 5 losses, because we're losing against the better teams and we're beating the smaller teams.
What goes on behind the scenes at Manchester United is overshadowing what goes on the pitch. I don't think they've been particularly... They ain't played well. No way. But that's the sign of a team. I don't think they was bad against Arsenal. I think they could have won the game. You know, that was a very fine margin. And then you find yourself in 6th place. Yeah, you're beating someone, scoring last minute, 95th minute winners from this, but you're still there. If they can sort this crap out and actually get some stability, I think they could still do stuff. I'm telling you now, they could still do stuff.
We've got upside.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. There's some good players there. There's players out of form. There's so much going on behind. Is
it going to actually get better? Because Ten Hag just seems to keep falling out of people. He's fallen out of Varane reportedly.
They'll get rid of him. Eventually, they'll get rid of him.
Something's got to be definitive. Yeah. Something's got to happen. Because if you just let it rumble on, even with Sancho, I know it looks bad on the optics if he leaves. It looks even worse on the optics if he stays, and it still doesn't work out. And it just continues to diminish.
I think this is what the Glazers have bought as well. They've allowed this to fester. When it was Ferguson in charge for them many years, the board, Martin Edwards and all of them guys, they didn't really get involved. They let him run because they trusted him to run everything. He wouldn't have, he had a half an argument with Beckham once. Beckham was the biggest star in the world, the biggest marketable star in the world. If someone went up to a chairman now and said, I'm going to sell David Beckham, the geezer that sells the most shirts, they go, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
They trusted him. Okay. We know what you're doing, and it worked out. But he had such a hold on that dressing room, and he had the trust, and that's what you got to get, man. And this is why you're never going to get someone like Alex Ferguson again, because people upstairs are not looking at what's good for the football team. They're looking at what's good for the marketing.
Well, another one, sorry to interrupt you, another one like that was
losing.
Arsene Wenger. Again, it was someone that, again, maybe it overran its course, but you won't ever see iconic managers in that sense. Again, you can have the Peps and the Klopps, which are iconic in their own way, but...
Because there'll always be a money man.
Yeah, they understood the club and what it meant, and they had that full trust. You never see
under
that
Ferguson could have went up to Martin Edwards and someone, £75 million on Sancho, say in today's money, and just went, I want him out. He's not good for me. He's not good for the team. And they went,
do you know what breeds that? Is winning.
They're not going to let him chuck £75 million down the drain.
I think Pep belongs in that group now because the way that he's revolutionised that City team. Listen, City were winning before he arrived.
Also, let me put this on the table. They can afford.
They can 100%. But Man United were once the richest team as well. They were just able to just pick Andy Cole and whoever they wanted from any of the clubs and just take them in. You know, Tevez. They took the best players, Robin van Persie, anyone they could get their hands on, they took them. They were basically the Bayern Munich of the league. Man City have maybe become that a little bit but even Man City, if you look at them, they don't, I know Man City spend a lot, but they don't actually set British records apart from Grealish too often. They walk away from a lot of deals because they say, you know, that's too much money, too many wages. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go and go and find an alternative target. But the way that Pep runs that club, he has the say. He is bigger than the club almost, which is similar to maybe what you're talking about in a way.
But if he turned round tomorrow, even still, with the marketing that goes on today, and he turned around and went, I don't want Haaland at this club anymore. It's no good for the dressing room. They say, well, it's the biggest marketing asset that we've got.
I think they sell him, you know.
Maybe.
I think
I'm just saying,
there's a lot more. I think he's that powerful now.
There's a lot more to the decisions now. Sancho would have never survived at Man United under Ferguson.
No, never.
No. He wouldn't have been there right now. No, he would have been out the door. He would have, sit at home, do nothing, let your contract run out, whatever. Like, there's guys here that are protecting money. So much money involved, protecting their marketing. And
they did let Ronaldo go though. That was a big move.
I think they didn't have a choice.
Ronaldo,
if I'm wrong, the situation was untenable.
Ronaldo manufactured his way out of the team. You know what I mean? But look, you have to. I always say, look, if you're going to do these big decisions, you have to win games. You know what I mean? Like that's when people won't speak about it. If Man United got rid of Sancho or whoever and won 15 games in a row, you wouldn't say anything. You're speaking about Alex Ferguson. He wins. He's Pep. He wins. If you do these decisions, then you're losing and it's all going left. Then that's
that position.
Exactly. That's the issue. If Varane is not playing in certain games and Man United lose, then you're going to start questioning it. You know what I mean? So that's the issue, and that's why when people use the comparisons of Ferguson and Pep and old Jose Mourinho, I'm like, yeah, but they were racking up Premier Leagues, they were racking up Champions Leagues and winning. Exactly. You can't just walk in and demand that. So when everyone's saying like, United have always been, United have had player power and sulkers and stuff, and they need someone to come and kind of like push that away. I get it, but it's going to have to be quite gradual as you continue to succeed. You can't just come in and whatever. But I do think, look, if Sancho's wasn't training well, whatever, you know what I mean? I've spoken about that. Sancho hasn't been good enough at United anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not really the biggest loss. But the Varane thing is a little bit confusing. I'm not going to lie. Like, Varane, it seems like a model professional. He retired from France so he can focus on his club career and stuff. And then to be out of the team, and, we saw him coming against Copenhagen. Didn't look like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Onana was having to be like, come on, man, come on. He didn't look like he wanted to be out there. So hopefully that's not something else that's going on. Casemiro, we don't know what they're talking about. He might be off now. And so, look, we're in kind of like damage control. Our season, we're trying to lift up from damage control to actually, all right, let's see what we can do this season, and We'll see.
You're looking like all your recent signings of the last few years are the players you actually need to get rid of, or the players that want away.
That's the scary
part. The
part.
McTominays are fine.
That's the scary part. And, this is when it always gets to survival mode. Every manager at Man United have done this. It gets to survival mode and they start to rely on certain players, And look, credit to Maguire for coming in and doing well, but I don't want us to get comfortable with that. It's Maguire's time.
You don't want to build your club around Maguire.
When's his contract ending? Do you know what? Let's give him another 3-year contract. That's what Man United do. Do you know what I mean? Yes. So it's not the long-term option. United needs to continue to still plan for the future. But that's my biggest concern about Ten Hag. Like, forget about the man management and what's going on. It's that the signings don't look that great. His signings don't look that great. And the fact that we're still relying on Ollie's players or even Jose Mourinho's players, it's a little bit scary in that regard. But let's see, man. Sir Jim.
Do you think
Sir Jim Ineos?
Have you heard of the Ineos curse?
No, ignore Simon Jordan, man. Allow him, man.
Sky Cycling and that.
Allow him, man. Simon Jordan.
Nice.
Mercedes.
Yeah. Look, Nice are second in the league at the moment.
Are they second
unbeaten.
right now? Oh, really?
Unbeaten.
Oh, actually. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think his arrival, Sir Jim's arrival, almost feels like a fresh start in that if you were to sack Ten Hag and start fresh, I think if you didn't have Sir Jim, you let go of Ten Hag, I think there'd be a lot of United fans thinking, where do we go? We've tried Mourinho, we've tried Van Gaal, we've tried Moyes, we've tried Ollie, the legend returning, we tried now Ten Hag. Do you think Sir Jim coming in will feel like, it won't feel like the others, because it'll be like, okay, at least there's someone else who's in charge of the next phase then?
I feel like it won't feel like a fresh start because Glazer's still there. And obviously at the end of the day, Man United, we don't want Glazers in charge. But in terms of a football structure being built, this is what we've needed. We're so outdated as a football club. On the pitch, off the pitch, stadium, whatever you want to talk about, Man United are so outdated. And this is the first time we're probably going to we're getting a new CEO who has worked with PSG and Juventus. He actually oversaw Juventus stadium, going to Juventus stadium now and stuff like that. So somebody that connects, has experience, his contact book probably has a lot of people that are very reputable in football. Do you know what I mean? So that's important. And then obviously we're linked to like Paul Mitchell and stuff as a sporting director he brought in Dele Alli, he brought in Vertonghen, Sadio Mane.
He was great, wasn't it, when he was with us?
Yeah, every team that he's been at, he has brought in some gems at that club. So for once, it's looking like we might have some form of football structure, some form of you've got to answer to this person. You've got to, that is what we need as a football club. So look, I was obviously Qatari in, blah, blah, blah. That's gone now, and let's look at it objectively. And on a football side of things, if the reports are true of what he wants to bring in, you've got to give Sir Jim a chance. Yep. You've got to give him a chance.
Absolutely. It's time that United started acting like a big club again, I think.
Exactly.
Definitely. Just before we finish, I want to talk about West Ham. I asked you at the beginning of the show, are you still Moyes out? Are you?
I'm neutral. It's gone beyond it now. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. I'm just existing with it. You know what I mean? Like
Why are you so anti-Moyes? He's won a trophy for you. He's playing better football now.
I get it.
I don't think he brings much. I honestly don't. I think we've got a better group of players and I don't think he gets enough out of the group of players that we've got now. I think he was great for what we had at the beginning when he came in. I think that's exactly what we needed. We needed the structure. We needed the discipline. We needed the work rate put back into the side. Yeah. I think we've gone a bit beyond him, and I know that sounds arrogant. But I'm just saying, like, there's faults within our team, and there's things that need addressing, and I don't think he's the man to address them. And I think we've got enough quality there to be able to do something if we had a different direction.
And I think there's...
But what's your ceiling? Do you think like an Emery level manager?
No, but what's West Ham's ceiling? Don't you think he's like reached West Ham's ceiling? You guys have Europe 3 years in a row.
So what happens when you hit the ceiling? You're going back down.
Well,
we need someone to break that ceiling.
What is your ceiling? What's a realistic expectation for West Ham? Top 8, top 6?
Yeah, top 8 every season. Okay. Every season, just consistently being within that. And then... Look, we've attracted some really good players. We've got
Mohamed Kudus, brilliant signing. Keeping hold of Paqueta.
Alvarez.
Yeah.
Paqueta, I think he's one of the best players in the league.
He's fantastic.
He's
unbelievable.
But we've got faults there, and he cannot see the faults. He cannot see them, and he cannot address them, and he cannot because they're faults of his own making. He's very good at mopping up other people's mess, but when it's his own mess, he's very reluctant to address it. And I've got no disrespect. I love the guy. I really do love him, and I will forever be grateful for what he's done for us. But why should we just sit there and accept it? And you know, and I said this. Look, we've got this new guy in Stuyden who's got a, you know, he's convinced people like Kudus over, you know, some of the bigger sides and Alvarez, saying that we've got a project. He's calling it Stuyden project, and you know, he's done really, really well to attract some of these players. But I can't. Moyes is in the last year of his contract. Yeah, I can't see the Stuyden project having Moyes in charge. I think that's what convinced Bowen to re-sign for us and sign for a long term, because they've sat him down and they said, look, this is not what it's going to be like next year. This is not the future. This is, let's David sort of ride into the sunset. And I look at the results that we've had and some of the individual mistakes we're making at the moment to concede goals, and he's not addressing the defensive. You know, we're really conceding bad goals. We're relying on set pieces to score our goals now. With all that talent on the pitch, it seems like the only things we can do is whip in a corner and get some big lump on the end of it. Their manager can do that. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like anybody can do that.
Isn't that utilising the ability of James Ward-Prowse?
This is what we've become.
It is utilising it, but I don't think that should be your main focus. Well, you know, that's an ability to. That should be an ability to.
It should be a bonus.
It should be a bonus. Yeah. That you know that's the thing that gets you to that next level. Yeah. We should be creating with the players that we've got. Listen, I know that he's got the difficulties with fitting in teams. He's a creature of habit, and then when players like Kudus comes along, he's very reluctant to sort of change the balance and all that. But we've got a good side.
Did Mikel Antonio say on Filthy Fellas that they did try and evolve a little bit with Scamacca up top, and then they kind of reverted back to type a little bit? I think that just almost kind of sums up the David Moyes situation, which is two things can be true. He's doing fine. We're very, West Ham fans are very grateful for what he's done. Thumbs up, thank you. You're doing good. You're at a kind of flat level, fine. But when you look at Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, these are really good. I think Scamacca's actually a really good player.
He is.
So was Haller.
Yeah.
Ward-Prowse in there as well. Alvarez, decent defenders. You kind of think
they need to level up a little bit.
But also like without getting too philosophical, isn't life about risk and taking chances? You've got really good players out there. Like, do you not want? And I'm not saying. The thing is, you're going to have to wait for a bad patch. You couldn't do it now.
I disagree. I think I think he's had enough.
It would feel extremely harsh.
It seemed like, but then sometimes you've got to do that.
But who would you bring in?
Aston Villa last year was sitting below us, and we were bad, right? They didn't wait too long. They made the change. They got the manager. They went and identified someone. Look at them now.
And see your question about ceiling, Cam. See your question about ceiling. Like, I think that would have been applicable to Villa a year ago. But but what are you trying to achieve? I appreciate they were lower, and I get that. So you probably would have said top 10, top 8, whatever. But I kind of agree with you. It's like the talent is there, the stadium's there. I know you don't love it, but listen,
it's all in place.
There's a lot of resources there.
Not to minimum try and break into
the thing that I think they should do. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, bro.
The thing why I think this should be happening now is that the fact that, listen, if Lucas Paquetá hadn't been caught up in a scandal, he would not be a West Ham player right now. He'd be sitting at Manchester City, right? The only reason he's still with us is that he got caught up in a scandal. Pep came in for him, he was gone. If them doubts weren't over him, right? So what I would say now is, like, these players, we're not going to be able to keep hold of Kudus for too long. Under Moyes, the way they play, I think this knocks all the stuffing out of these players. Playing Moyes football, it's boring, it's predictable. You're going to get beat, you're going to make mistakes, you're not going to come off in the best light. But I think to myself, if there's a project in place and they've got a manager in place that they want to be bringing in for next year, give Moyes his P45 now. Just say, look, thank you very much, but we want to go in a different direction. No, I'm serious. And let the players, while there's still time to show them what we can be next season, the players that may be indecisive, the likes of Paquetá, that if Man City come back, think, I'm gone. I don't want to play like this every bloody week. Yeah. And show them what we are trying to become.
Then they might stick.
Then you've got a chance. I'm not saying that they're going to, but we've got a chance of
Because you are in danger, I think, of being picked off for your best players.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Like
And,
feeder club
and if they
style.
do that, then there really is a ceiling
When
to
you're
West Ham.
asking a talented player like Kudus, who should be the main focus of your attack, to track back and cover some dog shit right back that you've got, well, if he's got a chance to then go into play for a team that says, well, I'm not going to ask you to do that. You go and express yourself and show the world what you are. What's the choice?
It's risky though. That transition is mad risky.
It is.
I'm not comparing
But
you
we've got
guys
to
to this
take it.
level, but we've seen teams like Stoke, we've seen Burnley.
Stoke was a big
I'm not
one.
saying that you guys are that level,
Southampton.
but I'm just saying we've seen Southampton. We've seen these teams try and be like, do you know what? We're gonna try something different. Like that stability that we've had, we're gonna take that risk, and then all of a sudden,
Backfires.
bam!
Smashing
Haven't
down.
you guys tried that? Didn't you guys try it with Pellegrini?
Yeah.
Didn't work.
What was it? Palace and De Boer.
Oh,
6
yeah.
defeats, no goals.
This is what I mean.
God.
Like, so, and then now Hodgson's back
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you.
You went from Pellegrini, and then what? Who went back? Was it Moyes that came to save
Moyes
that
came
ship,
to
or was
save
it?
it.
It was Moyes, Pellegrini, Moyes.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying,
I think
man.
you sometimes be careful what you wish for. I understand fully. I think
Just
you
get
want more
Villas
for your
Boas
club.
and Moyes again.
You want more excitement.
Europe
but
3 years
again,
in a row, man.
But
That's
it-
good.
It shouldn't be a case of, like with Pellegrini, we just chucked money at him. The geezer was relaxing on a beach in China, and all of a sudden David Sullivan comes along with 10 million quid. Went, come and imagine the Premier League. He packed his bags and was back there. The geezer was just sitting around. I saw it with my own eyes. They're all training, and the guy's just standing outside smoking cigarettes.
in fairness, that's what Sarri used to do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Sarri,
mean?
get Sarri.
Sarri,
football.
Sarri.
But serious
at West Ham.
philosophy.
It's got to be. It's got. I mean, and I do trust Stidham with his project. It's got to be someone that they've identified that can get the best out of it. Not just some old, old name that someone that's big name that we're going to chuck money at to attract him here. It's got to be someone with the project.
Why don't you just hire Pep's assistant? I mean, it feels like everyone's doing that.
That's
having
what
a
Arsenal
degree of
did, to be
assistant.
fair.
Well, I think Leicester have done it. Isn't he a former
Yes.
City coach?
Yep. Anyway.
Bielsa, I've just been told.
We are
Bielsa.
gonna-
No, see now they'll get Bielsa and they'll go down.
That's
This is what I mean.
That's the
This is
type
what
of
I mean.
manager.
I agree with that.
That's the type of manager who will
I
send
can't
you.
deal with
There
Yeah.
has
This
to
is
be a
what I mean.
level
I
of how
can't deal
much
with
you
him.
want to.
Yeah.
Wait till Feb. Ten Hag.
No, this
No,
guy's
God,
disrespectful,
no.
mate.
No,
You know what I
no.
mean? Listen, when's Arteta going to win a trophy again? See what I mean? How long
See what I'm
has it been?
saying? You see?
How long's it
Now-
been?
now you're feeling it, aren't you?
How long has it been?
Hey, wait till the summer.
Hold
We
on,
can
hold
go
on.
right out.
If you lot don't win a trophy this season,
that's
if you lot don't win a trophy this season, and let's say you finish third and no trophy,
I know, it's
Big
bad.
question.
or are you going to start?
No, I'm right.
Big questions.
It won't come to that.
It
I won't
doesn't
come
mean
to
what you
that.
say. Look, oh yeah, I know.
We're lifting something big this year. Don't worry.
What are you lifting?
I think we're going to win the league.
Is it, yeah?
Yeah, I said that back
Do
in
you know what?
August.
We could be here all day. I tell you what, we're going to
relaxed.
save that chat for Monday.
Wow.
We're going to save.
That's not a clip.
Save that chat
I don't
for
know what
Monday.
is.
Make sure you all tune in. Don't
Declan
forget to
Rice, he knows how
smash-
good he is.
Smash the like button. Just going to finish with a few super chats from London Nomad, who said, Matisse, there's levels to dirty money. Abramovich was in bed with the Russian higher ups, the shady deals. And LJ Brown says, Cams, have you apologised to the fish and chips Steve Urkel, Matisse, about United doing better than Chelsea?
What's the league table right now?
Why leave that comment?
Where's the league table? Hold on.
LJ
Why do
Brown
you
likes
that?
to do that.
Why do
shocking-
that to me? I
Swear down,
feel like he's setting me up for failure by leaving that comment.
The
We're not
shocking
ahead of them.
Manchester United are
We're not
5
ahead of
points
them.
clear.
You know what I mean? Like
Against
there's
the
work
amazing Chelsea.
There's work to be done. Like allow me, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Dads. You guys are so giddy, I'm telling
Steps
you.
to
Oh,
this,
you
man.
get it everywhere. I watch all this.
Huh?
shows
For
every-
me?
Yeah, you.
What are
get
you
it.
talking about?
You get it everywhere. I'm sticking
He's
up. for you,
sticking
man.
up.
Oh.
Hold on, he also gives it. Did you watch
I don't
Monday's
give
show?
no. What are you talking about?
My goodness. Don't forget, this week there is $7,000 up for grabs when you get involved with Optimax and Opta5. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code as well on screen to join the DR Sports League and compete against us and other DR subscribers. It's been a fun show, considering there's no football this week. We've had lots to talk about. Thank you, Matisse. Thank you, James. Thank you, Cams. Thank you, Nicky. We'll be back on Monday for weekend review,
yes.
roundup,
Yeah.
and we'll be talking about whatever happens with England tomorrow night. Hopefully it's an England win, but until then, enjoy your international weekend, and we'll see you soon.